new Foreign Secretary David Cameron has marked the start of his new post with a trip to Ukraine, where he met President Zelensky in Kyiv. The move underlines the UK's unwavering support for Ukraine, even as war rages in Gaza.
Joining us now in the studio is Kira Rudik, leader of the Golosh party in Ukraine. Kira, the fact that David Cameron, the former Prime Minister, now Foreign Secretary, made this trip just, 2-3 days into the job, how significant is that?
Good morning, David. Good morning, Sarah. Thank you so much for having me. And first of all, let me thank you for keeping focus on Ukraine. It is very important for us. And of course, it is incredibly significant and an important gesture for Ukrainian people to see the Minister of Foreign Affairs visiting Kyiv. It shows that we still matter, that the United Kingdom is still standing with us, and that the support will not change. Right now, when we are getting to this very complicated winter, second winter since the full-scale invasion started, it is so unsure like what's going to happen. And every time I'm coming back from these working trips abroad, people are asking me, so tell us, what's it out like there? Do people think about us? Do people remember that we exist, that we are still fighting? And I'm so glad that I will be able to say, yes, people remember about us, people support us, and we are not alone in this fight.
Absolutely right. And in terms of that, you're right. Of course, the news cycle moves on. We've been talking about Gaza. Of course, Ukraine hasn't been forgotten. Just in terms of where we are now in this war, we're coming into winter. It's a very difficult time. I think Ukraine itself has realised they're not making the ground they anticipated to make. That being said, Zelensky's chief of staff, this is Andriy Yermak, says that the forces have now gained a foothold on the eastern bank of the Dnipro River. If that is the case, you would then have a bridgehead, which could be significant.
It could be, but I think we are looking at the situation from the land perspective, and we should be looking at it a little bit differently. So for the 20 months since the full-scale invasion started, Ukrainian army has destroyed 300,000 of Russian soldiers that are not going to fight anywhere else, over 5,000 tanks, that is confirmed, which are not going to be used in any other war, and over 300 planes with having a minimal amount of planes by ourselves. So we are doing a fantastic job, and our military people are doing heroic steps. Of course, we would want to do better and have more gains, but for that we need more equipment, more weapons, more supplies, more ammunition. And what we see right now is that not all the promises that we have received, they can be fulfilled in time. And for us, the time is an essence.
David Cameron talked about the UK providing moral, diplomatic and military support, not just this year, not just next year, but perhaps, he said, for as long as it takes. However, in the United States, the White House National Security Advisor is talking about it getting harder and harder to continue to protect Ukraine at the same level with every week that passes. How concerned are you by that fading, potentially, support?
So we are absolutely aware that Putin's plan is a war of attrition. His hope is very simple, that the democratic world would change, we would have elections, that probably the unity could change, and people will get tired and will switch their focus to something else. This is his plan, and it was obvious all along. And so what can we do from our side? The only way is to keep united, to work with our partners and allies, and this is where the diplomatic help comes in, and make sure that we don't get him this chance.
And just following on from that, there are some real political challenges in the West. When you look at the European Union, there's a headline this morning saying the EU has actually missed its pledge. It said it would give 1 million artillery shells to Ukraine. It hasn't done that. It's given 300,000. That's not enough, is it?
Well, it's 3 times not enough, right? And so, of course, it is upsetting that the democratic military production powers are not there where they're supposed to be and where it was planned that they would be. But we are hoping that the next year our partners will be able to ramp up. Because if you look at Putin's allies, like North Korea or Iran, they're keeping up to their promises.
Yeah, and I think it's just worth reminding ourselves of the humanitarian cost. The lives lost in this are so unbelievably significant for Ukraine itself. 70,000 dead on the Russian side, of course, young people sent to fight because they have no option by Putin. We're talking unimaginable loss of life here. So the war has to end, doesn't it? And we in the West have a responsibility to help Ukraine.
Yes, right now, more than 85% of Ukrainian families have either somebody fighting at the front or lost somebody at the front. And the toll that we have already paid to be where we are is unimaginable. But we do not have any other choice. And our plan and our resilience and our intention did not change. We want to win the war. We want to regain our territories and, most of all, liberate our people. So for that, we only need the means to fight. And this is why our pledge have not changed. Please give us the means to fight, the weapons, the ammunition, and we will do what we are doing so well right now, fighting for our country.
Kira Rudik, thank you very much indeed. It is interesting, isn't it? We're talking about needing to maintain the focus on Ukraine. And when you have a long-term conflict like this, the focus does shift. And even just, weeks into the Israel-Gaza conflict, we are seeing it fading away from the front pages.
Exactly. And this is actually where I think Cameron can be very useful indeed, which is to put it back on the front foot and to make it something we all talk about and remember.